Hello and welcome to Self-Care Sunday, where we explore what it means to fill our own cups. Say hello in the chat so I know you're here, whether you're watching it live or on the replay, and grab a piece of paper or open your doc if you haven't already, because this one's gonna be juicy. Okay, so last week I introduced the biggest thing that gets in the way of filling our own cups. Anyone remember what it is? It's old programming. So most of us, especially if you're in your 40s like me, have dabbled in self-help. Like maybe you said, I want to have more free time to do some of the things that I love to do. So you got a book about creating new habits, or you've taken some time management training, or a course on boundary setting. And they were all great. The techniques totally make sense, and you could see how they'd be helpful, and you wanted to implement them in your life. But you didn't. Why not? The answer, again, is old programming. Yes, that's right. Your old programming is preventing you from living the way that you know you want to live, and implementing the changes that you know you want to implement. So we're going to start uncovering some of it today so you can decide what to do with it. Okay, so let me back up for a second. I need to explain something. As humans, we are a social species. And being able to maintain our status as part of a group is super important to the human brain. Back in the day, like way back in the day when our brain was evolving, if we were cast out of our group, that pretty much meant certain death. So it was to our benefit as an individual to figure out super fast how to be liked and accepted and included. And different groups had different norms. So our mind evolved to take in this data and figure out how to fit in wherever we are and be in the least danger possible. These are our programs, and our programs drive our behavior. This is what's causing you to be overwhelmed and stuck and frustrated, because once your mind finds a program that works, it never gets rid of it. So today we're going to explore why some of our programs were created and how they served us in the past. And then we're going to look at how they're showing up in your life today. So we're going to stick to the theme of being busy and overwhelmed for now, because that's a big issue for many of us. So you got your piece of paper or your document, notebook? Okay, we're going to get started. First, let's take a breath. We're going to roll back time, and we're going to start thinking about the earliest memory we have of being busy or doing something for others. Take a moment to think back. How old were you? What were you doing, and who were you doing it for? So my example, I first remember being busy helping my mom look after my siblings, keeping them entertained and happy. Okay, I'm going to give you 30 seconds to write it down and put it in the chat when you're done. All right, once you've written down your earliest memory of being busy or helpful, think about, why were you doing that? What were you hoping to get out of it? So for me, I was hoping to get out of it maybe some attention and praise, because I was much lower needs than my siblings, and I think I felt overlooked a lot of the time. And I also wanted to make my mom happy. Our household was much nicer when she was happy. So write down, why were you doing that? What were you hoping to get out of it? It's tough in this format because I can't see when you're done, but I'm going to move on. So now think about and write down, what would have happened if you didn't do those things? If you weren't doing those helpful actions? What would have happened if you didn't do those things? Natasha, I can't believe you joined from your campsite. That's amazing. Thank you so much. Okay. So for me in my story, if I didn't do those things, if I didn't help my mom and ensure that my siblings were entertained and well cared for, my mom probably would have been mad. She probably would have, yelled at me to help. So instead, I tried to anticipate her needs. The other outcome could be that my mom would be sad, and I hated it when she cried. It made me felt like I disappointed her. And so if I didn't help, our household would have been way more chaotic, with siblings screaming and mom screaming. Everyone was upset. Not a great place to be. I helped so that our house was calm and happy. So our minds think in terms of risk and reward. So looking back at what you just wrote, what do you think was the biggest reward for being busy and the biggest risk if you weren't? The biggest reward for being busy and the biggest risk if you weren't. So for my example, my biggest reward was being noticed and praised. And my biggest risk is that if I didn't do that, was a full house of chaos and screams and tears. Okay, so take a moment to figure it out and then share your risks and rewards in the chat, because these are critical. Okay, so Michelle is noticing that she gets a reward of praise and positive attention for being busy? Okay. Lorelai's noticing feeling good about getting stuff done. Yes, absolutely. Ooh, that's a big one, Jen. Acknowledgement that I am useful. That hits me in the heart. Big risk of disappointing people. Yes, good one. Okay, now that you've completed your risks and rewards, it's time for me to push your buttons. I'm going to activate your programs. And it's your job to notice what happens when I do. Okay, you ready? Okay, here it is. Just stop. Stop being busy. Take your to-do list for today and let it fly out the window as you drive to the spa and maybe even spend the night there. Just leave it all behind. What's your body doing right now? Are you feeling a little bit of panic? Maybe a little bit of longing, desperation, rage? Maybe you're already out the door. Who knows? All right, I hope that you're feeling those feelings, because that means the button push was successful. Now write down in your notebook why you can't do that. Why can't you leave? What would happen if you stopped? Put it in the chat. Michelle noticed that button pushing gives her anxiety. Yes, sure does. Why can't you stop? What would happen? Jen, I love that. You say it would miss out on the fun things we are going to do as a family. Yes, yes, yes. You are living your best life, and I love it. What I hear most often from people when we do this exercise is something along the lines of, if I stop, everything will fall apart. Holy hell, that's a lot of pressure. If I stop, everything will fall apart. And so if I think back to the younger me, maybe 6 years old, making sure that my 2 little siblings were happy and didn't bother my single mother, I created a program that if I stop, everything will fall apart. Because I witnessed it. Babies crying, mom crying, and then me crying. That's my risk program. And that's paired with my reward program of being noticed and praised. So if everything is falling apart, I am obviously not good enough, not able to cut it, not able to keep everyone happy, not worthy of being noticed or praised. So what do I do then? I try harder, work harder, notice the needs, tend to them before they erupt, make sure that everyone is happy, for then I will be praised. Then maybe I'll get a hug instead of a disparaging comment, which leads to a new program of, if I can keep everyone happy, then I will be worthy and lovable. Or phrased another way, I am only worthy and lovable if I can keep everyone happy. So can you see your programs in what you uncovered today? What is your risk and reward telling you? Can you link the reasons of being unable to stop today to what your mind took in as a child? And these programs running in the background of my mind continue to affect how I show up every single day. These are the root of my people-pleasing tendencies, wanting to say yes to everything and help everyone. For if I can keep them all happy, then I will be worthy of their love, respect, and praise. For me, this shows up at work as taking on way too much. This shows up at home as like a busy little bee tending to all of the details, big and small, of our busy household with 4 kids and a dog. This shows up as me not being able to rest and feeling guilty and inadequate if I'm not performing at my best all the time. And feeling resentful of the people around me who are not working as hard as I am to keep everything together. So my old programs, created almost 40 years ago, are still driving my behavior today. So you can see how addressing these old programs is the solution to anxiety, overwhelm, people-pleasing, overgiving, and being unable to rest. And you can see how hard or impossible it is to change these behaviors without addressing the old programming rooted deep in your psyche. So the first step in doing something about it is uncovering what these programs are, just like we did today. And the next step is to figure out what really matters to us, because we may never have asked ourselves that. And then systematically take steps to rewrite the programs so that the messages underpinning our behavior are actually true and relevant to our lives today. So these are the steps that I teach in my program, Bridge to Your Best Life, which I am opening up in July, so that by Christmas you can be running new and better programs that allow you to breathe and open up a space for joy, fulfillment, and relaxation. So today we uncovered a handful of programs in the millions that your mind is running. If you'd like to continue this work, I have a free guide for you. If you want it, write free guide in the chat and I'll send it to you. It does a deeper dive into some of the questions that we did today, and it also includes an exercise on what to do about it, which we did not touch on today. So today you showed up for yourself, despite old programming that may tell you that showing up here today is not as important as the other things on your to-do list. And so I celebrate you for breaking the patterns and modeling self-love. You are doing way better than you think you are. I hope you have an amazing day.